Hello, hello, hello. How are y'all doing this morning? It is Thursday morning and we are getting prepared, people. Are you prepared? Some of you probably already are because of the storm we just had last weekend. And now we're expecting another storm this weekend. In some areas, it's going to start on Friday. In some areas, it's going to start on Saturday and roll all the way into Sunday night. So, that being said, uh, have a list of things that I want to go over really, really quick. Not that you don't know, but just as a refresher. And of course, as always, I ask that you put tips and ideas in the comments because there are a lot of people who read the comments who need a little bit of help, who may be new to it, or it may be something that just they didn't think of and they go, I think I could use that, or, maybe next time, and they write it down for themselves. So anyway, before we begin, a little bit of business. Could you please hit that like button, help a girl out, get the video out to more people, and keeping more people in the know on the go. And I will have multiple stories today. So if you are not subscribed to Tommy Bites Homestead, what you waiting on? Go on and hit the subscribe button, turn your notifications on because there will be multiple videos today, tomorrow, and the next because of everything that's happening in the world and of course what's going on with the snow. I want to know how you guys are doing in your area as well. So another winter storm, and this time they're saying is strictly snow. So that's definitely better than ice. If we're going to get something, I'd rather get the snow than to get the ice because we're still dealing with ice out here. I mean, everything is covered. I struggled getting out my driveway this morning to get my daughter to work, which she hadn't been to work since last week. She was off 2 days anyway, yesterday and the day before, but she still wasn't able to go the other days that she was supposed to go because when you rule, you kind of last on the list for getting your road cleared. And even when it gets cleared, they barely touch the surface of it. They'll just go down the main road. But if you on that side street, you just struggling. And so this morning we have a hill that we have to go up. And it took me about 3 goes in order to get up that little hill of my driveway just to get out. So be safe. I've seen people get stuck out here just trying to get out of their yard. So a nor'easter is expected to develop off of the East Coast this weekend and likely strengthen into a bomb cyclone, they say, that will pack a punch and deliver high winds, harsh winter weather, heavy snow to coastal Carolinas and Virginia before tracking north through the weekend. So the entire weekend shot. Shot. I'm so ready for winter. I'm so happy though that my seedling trays came in yesterday because they had said it wasn't going to come until next week. So hopefully this weekend I can, while I'm stuck in the house, go ahead and drop some seeds. If you're thinking about starting a spring and summer garden, go ahead and start now. Just drop a few items, a few seeds of maybe tomatoes or cucumbers. No, don't do the cucumbers. But drop a few seeds of different things that you want to have come spring or whatnot. They have power outages in Tennessee. I don't know how that's looking right this minute, but they have power outages in Tennessee and in other areas. So that's something to also think about. People in the cold already and having to deal with more bad weather coming in. Impacts on Friday should remain minimal overall, but light snow is possible in places such as Nashville, Gatlinburg, and eventually spreading into parts of Virginia. It says this phase is more of a lead in to the main event rather than the core of the storm. So this just a teaser, an appetizer, and then we're gonna get hit with the main course. It will be a different story by Saturday morning. A coastal low will be in the early stages of development, and snow will rapidly expand across the higher terrain of Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and into northern Georgia. Now, I have family that's in South Carolina. My older 2 children and grandchildren, I have 7 of those grandchildren. They live in South Carolina, and I know they want to see some snow. And I have siblings in South Carolina. They were like, well, we didn't get anything. Hopefully we get something this time. I said, well, at least if you do get it this time, you'll be getting snow and not still having to deal with ice. Now think about the ice, the snow coming down here where I am, and ice already on the ground. It's just going to be a hot mess. Saturday appears to be the day when the bulk of the snowfall occurs for this region. As the day goes on, the coastal low continues to strengthen, pulling colder air southward while wrapping in increasing amounts of moisture. Snow intensity is expected to ramp up. Pay attention, is expected to ramp up. So if you guys have not gone out to prepare for the last storm, go out and get some items. Don't hoard, don't panic buy, don't do those things. Just get a few extra items that'll last you like maybe 4 or 5 days in case you have troubles getting out. Because I know some of these areas that are going to get this snow are not equipped, especially if you live further out in the country or whatever. So snow intensity is expected to ramp up, especially for interior cities such as Richmond, Virginia, Raleigh, North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina, Columbia, South Carolina. That's my hometown. Well, my hometown is Sumter, South Carolina, but I was raised in Columbia, South Carolina. So snowfall rates could become quite high with efficient snow ratios, and this looks to be an all-day event with very few breaks. So they're talking about, you know, some inches of snow here. Impacts could range from moderate to very high, particularly if the heaviest snow axis is set up over major population centers. At this point, they are expecting 8 to 12 inches. 8 to 12 inches is on the table, they say, with the bullseye favored somewhere in North Carolina. But it may be bullseye more on the coast. It just depends on tonight where things land coming into tomorrow. From what I'm gathering, if it's further out to shore, then it'll be more bullseye at the coast of North Carolina, but we'll still get snow here. But if it's a little further in, then we're going to be slammed. So that's what's happening. The impacts, like I was saying, the further out the storm is, you'll get snow, but you may not get slammed with snow. But if it's further inland, then, you know, we're all going to get hit. So cities along the I-95 corridor are on extreme western fringe of the potential impacts. For places like New York City, differences of 50 to 100 miles in the storm track could mean the difference between minor impacts and more noticeable effects. At this time, the I-95 corridor from Washington, D.C. to New York City is not expecting a blockbuster snowstorm, but some impacts remain possible, mainly in the form of gusty winds and periods of light snow. So travel, of course, is going to be messed up once again. I know my sister said she had a friend of hers from college was visiting her, and her flights kept getting delayed to get back to DC, and she finally got back yesterday. So be aware of that if you are traveling. Pack accordingly, have you some, you know, maybe snacks in case you get stuck at the airport and don't want to spend the high price that people say things cost in there. I don't know, because I don't fly. Farther north back into Massachusetts and Rhode Island, snow would not be the only concern if the storm tracks closer to the coast. A stronger system could produce powerful winds along the immediate coastline and over the waters. Wind gusts could exceed 60 miles per hour across the Cape and islands, with even higher gusts possible. If these winds coincide with high tide, coastal flooding and beach erosion could become a concern. So let's go over to my favorite. Although I really only go over to TikTok to find related stories that can go along with what I am discussing, because I don't like to get sucked in, because when I go over there, I'm always seeing something in the shop and I'm ending up buying it. Like I got my camera in for indoors yesterday and I connected that. So I have that in there so I can keep an eye on Gracie, like if I'm out of the house or whatever. Although my daughter was keeping an eye on me. She's like, why are you in the kitchen this late? What are you getting out of the refrigerator? And I'm like, oh gosh, I'm regretting this. Let me go over my little list that I made so I don't forget anything. Well, I probably am missing something from here, but making sure that you have water. Like I said, most of you guys got prepared just last week and probably still have items. So if you already have, no need to go out and get unless you went through those items and you just want to get a little bit. I will be getting a little bit of something myself because we did go through some things. But water I'm good on. But water, making sure you have at least a gallon a day for everybody in the home, and that does not include bathing and anything else you need to do with water. Maybe running some water in your tub. So I'm gonna have to run some more water in my tub. Backup power, flashlights, candles. You can even use garden stakes, like put them out in the daytime, get that sun while we have sun, because you know it's not going to be any, it's going to be cloudy. So while we have sun today, if you have garden stakes, just put them out there and then bring them in and use them at night. Just stick them in a glass and you can walk around your house with that if you don't want to have burning candles. A generator, solar, excuse me, y'all. A solar generator or a gas powered generator, something where you can have backup power. And I saw last night, I was watching this guy's channel, Charlie B. He does like reactions and stuff. And he was talking about having it's a warmer that you put in your water to warm your water up. Say, you know, you want to wash up or whatever, it'll warm up to 5 gallons. So that's a bucket of water right there, you know, for your family to do, you know, just a little wash up. If you don't want to be taking cold showers, you know, unless you into that. But anyway, shout out to him. And so shelf stable foods. And that's why I say y'all put in the comments tips and ideas, because I just be watching random channels and you know, I wasn't expecting I'm watching a reaction on a video. I'm not expecting, hey, this is good. I never, you know, told my people about this. Let me tell my people about this, because I didn't even think about that. And I went online and I put it in my cart. I haven't bought it yet, but I put it in my cart. I'm going to get one. Shelf stable foods. So you want things that are quick, simple, doesn't, you know, require a lot of preparation, you know. Who got time for that? But if you got time for it, go ahead. And if you do, you know, have your little camper stove or whatever, so you can cook that and make sure you are being safe when you are doing that. And you have your carbon monoxide detectors, all of those things. Comfort foods. Look, don't look past the comfort foods. Don't be like, oh, well, I got to get this, and that. Don't look past the comfort foods, because after being in this house 4 days, now, mind you, I need to be careful with my comfort foods because I gained a pound. You know, when I should have been eating the yogurt that I bought for my comfort food, I was like eating Hershey's almond bar or whatever. But anyway, neither here nor there. Ways to cook without power. Like I said, a camping stove, maybe your grill outside or something like that. If you have a charcoal grill. Ways to, you know, stay warm, nice thick blankets, thick socks, stuff like that. And of course, when you're getting food for yourself, if you have pets, get food for your pets. If you have farm animals, make sure they have their feed, because when they're eating, they are warming up. So you want to keep them, you know, okay outside. Even if they, you know, can endure cold weather, you still want them to have access to food and to water. Like I don't have a warmer for my water for my chickens, and I probably won't be getting one. But I do put hot water on their water if it freezes over, and it has been freezing over. So every morning I go out, I put hot water on it. I check it again throughout the middle of the day to make sure it didn't freeze back, like if the temp didn't go up or whatever. And they're talking about the high being around 21 degrees on Saturday. So yeah, there's that. And then speaking of going outside, when you're going outside, make sure you're staying warm. That is the key to you even getting this stuff done, because it does. I mean, you could be out there for like 3 minutes and your fingers are frozen. So I can't even imagine people going outside and doing that. I was watching this one channel and they had the kids out there doing that, and the kids didn't have no gloves on. I'm just like, where are their gloves? Where are their gloves? And with the gloves, you can get those hot hands. I have a ton of those. You can get the hot hands and stick them in the glove. You can even stick them in your shoes. You know what I'm saying? And so you can keep your feet warm too while you're out there. So it's about getting the work done and being safe while you are doing it, because it does not take long for frostbite to set in. And when you are a little tiny person, you got to think about all those things. Hats, gloves, warm clothing, scarves, whatever, you know. And I know it's hard to work with gloves on, but at least have them available so you can have your hands in them getting warm. And then when you get ready to do the work, take the gloves off, put them in your pocket, get your work done, put your hands back in it, and you're good. So that's also good to have in your vehicle, because when you are, you know, making these prepper pantry items, staples in your home, and you're creating these kits, you want that emergency kit for your vehicle as well, because if you get stuck in the snow like some of these people, you don't have ice. I mean, you don't have gloves for your hand. Now you out here dealing with this ice. How much work can you get done when your hands are stinging? I mean, stinging, burning. My whole thing is to wear my gloves when I'm going out with Gracie, because Gracie will take her time to use the bathroom now, because all she wants to do is crunch on ice. Like I could do a whole mukbang with her just crunching ice. It's just crazy. So get your emergency kits together for your home and your car. And let's jump on in. Let's jump on in. I know I was running my mouth, but I wanted to get it in. And we're at 21 minutes. So we're about to end the video now with these last few clips.
We continue to hone in on this next big winter storm threat, who's going to get what and timing. And of course, we're still fine-tuning, so stay with us, because this next storm does have its eyes set on the East Coast, just after the icy condition on the Hudson River that required the Coast Guard ships to free other boats on Tuesday. Man, the Northeast digging out from last week's storm, and now they're bracing for a potential nor'easter. That's going to mean strong winds for the eastern half of the lower 40, or for the eastern seaboard, I should say, rather. And then who gets the snow? And right now, it looks like the Carolinas are watching closely, because you are likely going to get some snow, impactful snow at that, plus the winds, plus the beach erosion. It's a nor'easter, and this is the time of year where we see that type of setup for the beach erosion due to those winds. And man, the waves too, big concern.
We still have some icy spots across the Carolinas. So this is kind of a back-to-back, but a very different storm, because it is going to be mainly snow. I mean, we have plenty of cold air present, and we have plenty of moisture locked up in this. And so the combination is looking like a different profile than the winter storm that we just went through. Arctic air moves in. We got this big dip in the jet stream, and then we wait for a coastal storm to develop, which is not going to even form until Saturday. And that's why we got to be nimble with the forecast. We're going to see these shifts, but each and every day the shifts will get smaller, and then we'll have more clarity as we go day by day. Yeah,
I think you can plan on some strong winds, that's for sure. As far as the mid-Atlantic and Northeast, a bit of a question.
Okay, so cut that off. All right, so she made a good point about the gutters. Everything else is pretty much, I already covered that. Because my gutters are fine though. It was nothing but water, just, you know, when it was melting, just running down. So I didn't have that, thank goodness for that. But keep in mind about your pipes, making sure they don't freeze. Make sure you leave something dripping inside your home, and your spigot outside. At least one of your spigots outside should be dripping. Covered up if it's exposed piping. making sure you get some of the ice that's still down, if you have that, getting that cleared out, which I need to do that to my back where it doesn't really get a lot of sun in a certain area by my door. I need to work on that. But right now we're putting flooring into our guest room because I need a place for when my grandkids come to visit. And also my mom is supposed to be coming to visit with me this summer, but she may come before, but this summer for at least 2 weeks. Oh my gosh, pray for me. My mom has dementia and she does not sleep. People with dementia, they just like up all the time. So we're getting stuff done in the home, but we still got to get stuff done outside the home as well. So I'm going to get these videos out to you guys. So I'm going to show you one more and then we can get out of here because I want to end it with at least 30 minutes. We're at 27. It shouldn't take that long, but we shall see. Let me share it. Y'all just please stay safe, stay warm, get socked up. Like she said, you know, I kept all my power stations out. I didn't even put them up. I went to put them up and then I heard the news and I was like, okay, we're going to leave those out. We're going to leave those out because we're probably going to be needing them. Hopefully we don't. We didn't need it this time. Hopefully we don't this time. So this is Arctic hurricane set to slam U.S. East Coast with life-threatening sub-zero cold. And that is the Daily Mail. Then we have here.
Good afternoon. Thank you for watching Fox Weather. Right now it is 4 o'clock in the east, 1 in the west. I'm Jane Minar in for Ian Oliver, and this is Fox Weather now. We've got a looming nor'easter that is set to...
Now this was 15 hours ago though, so let me see if I can find one.
This winter storm is now...
That thing's gonna go...
First, hundreds of thousands in the south are still without power, and that's where we begin. Crews are racing at this hour to repair the damage after that massive weekend storm, now blamed for at least 41 deaths, and another storm is coming this weekend. Rob Marciano with the forecast in just a moment, but for now, the deep freeze continues, and we have our team out there on it, beginning with Katie Weiss in...
Let me pause it for a minute just to say, be very careful when you're going outdoors because so many people have been reporting their trees bursting and splitting in place. And I would hate for you to be under it or your vehicle to be under it. Now, unless you got an old vehicle and you're like, I don't care if it get, you know, whatever. But just be very, very careful when you're out and about. I know that one of the people that died was 16 years old, being pulled on a sled by a Jeep by her 16-year-old friend. Her and her friend were on the back being pulled, sledding, and the Jeep, I don't know, jumped the curb or something, and her friend slammed into a tree. Tragic, tragic way to die. Just, you know, being a kid and having fun. So be safe. Watch your kids when they're outside, you know, no matter the age, because things could happen in a split second. We just don't know. So.
Oxford, Mississippi. Katie, good evening.
Good evening, Tony. It's like an icy tornado ripped through this city. Thousands of people here in Oxford are now on day 4 with no power and no running water. And with more freezing temperatures expected this weekend, the city's mayor says it's only going to get worse. Workers from the Tennessee Valley Authority are using helicopters and drones to help restore power to areas cut off by snow and ice. FEMA and the National Guard are on the ground in Mississippi helping with the recovery. A sign of relief for middle school teacher Jerica Pryor, who has been living without power for 4 days now. What have you been dealing with over the last few days?
No water, no heat, lights, freezing temperatures.
Pryor told us during the day, she sits inside her car to keep warm. And at night, she sparingly uses a space heater. She told us she ran out of food a few days ago and is living off snack food.
Poor diet, but that's what I've had to do.
We're giving it all we've got every day to try to get.
Let's pause there. This is a lesson. And I pray for her that, you know, their power gets back on and she's able to get out and get food. But this is a lesson we all need to learn. We have to stay prepared. There's, you know, no reason not to stay prepared for, you know, us to survive these things. And I know money is tight. Money is tight here where I'm at. We have one income right now until my husband starts back work with a different company, you know, because it takes time to do paperwork and all that stuff. So we at one income, mine. But we have to make sure we have food in our home. You know, it doesn't have to be expensive steaks and shrimp, crab, and all that other stuff, just to make sure we have something that we can make. If you run out of bread, wouldn't it be nice, and you still have power, but you run out of bread, to make your own? To make your own bread? To prepare a homemade meal? And then if you do run out of power, to have shelf-stable food that you can go in, and although you would want the food to be warmed up, it doesn't have to be. You can just eat it cold just to make sure you're getting some nourishment outside of eating candy and chips and cookies. Comfort food is good to have because it takes your mind away from, you know, the issues that are happening outside of your home that are causing stress in your home without having power, not having water. Because people don't think when you don't have power, you don't have water. But you don't have fresh source of water when you don't have power, because the power plants are run on, the water plants are run on power. So that's their way of being able to treat the system. So now the systems aren't being treated. You may have to do boil water advisories for a while, even after power comes back up. So we need to, you know, not think of it as fear mongering and think of it as just being prepared. It's just plain and simple. Emergency preparedness is that you don't know what the emergency is going to be. So you plan ahead for you plan ahead the best you can with what you have. You pray for the best in all situations and that God will see you through, and God will see her through that situation as well. But wow, the lesson that God will allow you to go through some things to teach you a lesson. Hopefully we learn it and don't, have to go through it. We learn from other people as well, seeing what they go through and the struggles and stuff like that. So I went through that with Hurricane Matthew, and that was the summertime and being without power for a week, almost 2 weeks. And, it's one thing to be without power in the summer and one thing to be without power in the winter. Because in the summer, you can peel clothes off. You know what I'm saying? You can get something going. You can fan yourself, whatever. But in the winter, now, mind you, people die in the summer too from heat. But in the winter, I think it's a double whammy, because no matter how much you pile on, you're still freezing. You can't warm yourself other than to go to your vehicle. And then what do you do if your vehicle's low on fuel, or if you've run out of fuel pretty much? You don't want to run out too much, whereas when you need to get out and can get out to the store, now you don't have fuel to do it because you were using it to warm yourself or charge your phone or whatever. So y'all keep those things in mind and stay safe, and leave your tips and ideas below. Share this video out. Help this video get out to more people. It in turn helps me over here on this channel, because I do make money off of YouTube. And if I'm going to make money off of YouTube, I need it to be because I'm helping people realize what maybe they didn't realize, or see things that they didn't see, or learn things they didn't know. So help me help you, help you. You know what I'm saying? So
Everybody's service is restored. It literally looks like a tornado has gone down every street in our community, and it's been devastating.
Tom Hansen is in New York City with more on the problems all this ice is creating there.
Well, take a look behind me. Chunks of the Hudson River appear to pretty much be frozen over. And believe it or not, the temperature in that frigid water is actually warmer than the air temperature is outside.
In the Northeast, the effects of the storm are still apparent. Some D.C. area schools will remain closed tomorrow, and icy roads caused this semi to overturn in Indianapolis. But in the coldest months of the year, activity aboard Coast Guard icebreakers heats up.
So that's where we're headed. Yep, that's where we're headed today.
We rode along on the 65-foot Hauser, breaking apart massive ice sheets covering one of America's busiest waterways. The dense ice flow halting travel for thousands of commuters who rely on the city's ferries.
It's really moving. What kind of danger does that present for the boats that have to go through this area?
It definitely creates a great danger for the boats with getting stuck in the ice or getting set into an area that you really don't feel comfortable being in.
And what does that mean for the supply chain? You know, with shipments coming in and actually being delivered out when the roads are the way they are and truckers are having issues with the roads. Mail service is having issues. Rains lead to snow, they say, but they're having issues. Okay. So we got to keep all these things in mind about stores being replenished. So making sure you have what you need, because it may take a while for a store to be replenished, especially coming off of a winter storm last weekend and now being hit just 7 days later, 6 days later, whatever. Who knows what their supply is going to look like, right? Because each store has different suppliers. And y'all just take care and stay safe. Hit the like button.